welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Rose, and today we're diving into my July 2024 budget wrap-up. All right, but first I want to give a huge shout out to all my new subscribers. Thank you very much for joining the community, and to my amazing returning viewers. Your support means the world to me. I am still on my journey to 100 subscribers. So thank you to all who stopped by and decided to subscribe. So July has come and gone, and it's time to see how we did with our budget, how we can make changes moving forward. Did we stick to the plan? Was there any over expenditures? Was I under budget? So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go straight into wrapping up the month, because when I'm doing my individual paycheck closeout, I use my actual numbers. So because I don't want to waste my viewers' time, I'm not gonna go over all my expense tracking already again, because I already did my expense tracking and I did it with real numbers. Okay, so let's get into reviewing the monthly totals. So the first thing I'm going to do is to wrap up or go over my income section. So the first line item under income that I'm going over is family contribution, because after I closed out my July 31st paycheck, my July 15th paycheck, I got $100. So I added it here because that's where it was supposed to go towards paying some bills here, but I got it late, so I just added it here. All right, so let's move into the overview. So on this section right here, I do have my monthly totals. So for rollover transfers for the month, I rolled over $357.43. For total combined income between my husband and myself, that's $6,358.73. And overtime from my husband's job was $1,773.82. There was no bonus, and I got $583.14 family contribution that went into paying for household items. I did not do any transfers from my emergency fund. Savings, there was $700 that I transferred from savings. So in total, I budgeted $9,269.98. I actually got $9,773.12. So you're seeing this negative here because I did not budget for the amount that I was supposed to get as family contribution. So when I get it, I just put it over in the actual column. So that's why we're seeing this negative right here. All right, so let's move along to housing and general expense category. All right, so rent was paid for $2,430.99. Water was not paid. That's going to be paid in the month of August. Security was paid for, but I budgeted $75 for security, but the bill is actually $77.32. So that put me over my budgeted amount by $2.32. For car insurance, I budgeted $410. I paid $408.69. So I went on the budget by $1.31. For cell phone, I was on point for cell phone, which is $288.79. For internet, I budgeted $70, but it's actually $70.25 that was paid. So I'm over the budgeted amount by 25 cents. All right, moving along. For gas bill, that was $64.75, and I was on point for that. For electricity, it's $193, and again we came in on point for electricity. For life insurance, I budgeted $90. I paid $95.99. So I'm over my budgeted amount by $5.99. All right. Now, no activities for pest control. For lawn service, I budgeted $70 and I paid $50. So I'm under the budgeted amount by $20 for this line item. For fuel and gas, I budgeted $250, and we used $245.68. So we are under the budgeted amount by $4.32. For groceries and toiletries, we budgeted $5.50 and we actually spent $529.41. So again, we are under the budgeted amount by $20.59. And guys, I feel so proud of myself with the grocery line item because I'm always over budget for groceries. So one tip that helped me with groceries for July was to do a full stock of what's in my pantry before I went to Costco. And I was able to just stick to the plan when I went to Costco because I know that my July month end was going to be rocky. So I wanted to just stick to the plan. I did not want to go over budget. All right. So moving along to medical copays and expenses, no activities here. Prescription, I budgeted $50, but I paid $79.55. So I'm over the budgeted amount by $29.55. So to close out housing and general expense category for the month of July, total budgeted amount was $4,542.53, and actual amount spent in the category was $4,534.42. So even though there are line items where we're overspent, there are also line items that I underspent, and that was able to balance me out so that I closed the month with $8.11 under budget. And the amount spent in housing and general expense category is actually 46% of the total income that passed through my household for the month of July. All right, so let's move on to the second category, savings and sinking funds. All right, so for savings and sinking funds, I do have one sinking fund that I'm actively working on, which is to cover my pest control charges, which is coming up in September. So for the month of July, for both pay periods, I budgeted $19, so we closed out with $38. No activity was done for emergency funding, and for this line item here, safety net or expense cushion, this is only when I have extra money that's in the budget and I need to roll it over. I just put it here so I can be in compliance with the zero-based budgeting. So all this money was used up. So I still have to give an account for this money here. So for the first period, I had $422.43 left, and I just kept it in the expense account. So it covered some of the overspent categories. So I rolled over $340.08 was rolled over. And you saw that right here in the rollover section. All right, so I am moving along to personal and discretionary. There was not much activity in personal and discretionary. For the first half of the month, I budgeted for barber, but that was not done. So we did that in the second part of the month. So $70 was budgeted for the second part of the month, and we actually spent the $70. So in total, $105 was budgeted, but we only spent $70. All right, there was no activity in clothing, no activity in dining out. And for gifts or giveaway, for the first part of the month, I do have a graduation award that I give. So I budgeted $700. This is money from my tax refund. I just set this amount, the specific amount aside, so that when we're approaching July, I can send it off to cover that promise that I made, that I do annually. All right. So the budgeted amount was $700, but the actual amount that was sent was $679.99. And for the second part of the month, I gave away another $200. So I budgeted $700 for gifts, but I actually ended up giving $879.99. All right, so total activities for personal and discretionary budgeted amount was $805 and the actual amount was $949.99. So I'm over in this category by $144.99, and the amount spent for the month of July in personal and discretionary is 10% off the household income. All right, moving along, we're almost there. So for my debt category, which includes car payments and personal loans, car payments, credit card, and personal loans. So for both cars, we budgeted $488.38. That's the actual amount that was paid. Car number 2, we budgeted $461.88. That's the actual amount that was paid. For credit cards, I had some errors in my calculation for the second part of the month. So I budgeted $551.32, but it should have been $599.83. All right, so the total amount budgeted for the month was $581.32, and I actually spent $629.83. So that put me over budget by $48.51. Both personal loans came in on point. We did not make any extra payment. For personal loan number 1, it's $12.40.74, and personal loan number 2 was $7.66.32. All right, so to wrap up the debt category, for the month of July, I budgeted $3,538.64, but the actual amount spent in the debt category was $3,587.15. I'm over my budgeted amount by $48.51, and in total, that's the amount spent on debt, consumer debt, for the month of July is 37% of my household income. All right, so for my miscellaneous category, I budgeted $14.99 for subscription, and it was actually $16.98. So I'm over my budgeted amount by $1.99. And then for my unexpected purchases or items that I did not budget for, that's $304.59. All right, so for miscellaneous, I budgeted $14.99, and I end up spending $321.59. So I'm over my budget in this category by $306.58. So the miscellaneous category is 3% of my household income. All right, so based on this budget review, there are certain line items that I really need to tighten up moving forward, but there needs to be some mechanism in place to take care of that. All right, so I ended up with $1.91 in my Excel worksheet. However, when I closed out my bank account for the month of July, I had $7.82 across both accounts, my landing account and my expense account. There was $7.82 in those two accounts, because those are the two main accounts that I use to pay bills and for the incomes to come in. So I am not exactly sure why my spreadsheet or why my calculation is telling me that I should have $1.91, but I found myself with $7.82. So I am not going to really spend much time trying to figure out where that extra less than $6 came from. All right, so if you enjoyed this breakdown and if you found it helpful, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. If there are any questions that you have regarding any of the categories or line items that I reviewed that probably doesn't make sense to you, you can just leave me a comment and I'll be more than happy to go back and see if I can clarify that, because I want my budget and my closing out to be as transparent as possible. All right, so thanks again for all your support. Thanks to my new and my returning viewers. Stay tuned for more budgeting tips, financial insight, my financial journey, my debt-free journey, my July debt video that's coming up after this one. And until then, just keep your finances in check, keep a positive mindset, and keep pushing, because we are going to get to the finish line, and it's going to be very soon. All right, so until then, bye.